Everyone in the neighborhood froze when three black Cadillacs rolled up before sunrise. Their engines hummed like something out of a movie, their tinted windows hiding whoever was inside. And standing on his worn-out porch, wearing yesterday's shirt and holding his little daughter's hand. No one could believe they were there for him, the broke single dad who saved a billionaire CEO from a falling jet just hours earlier. But what the CEO said after stepping out of the car would change the single dad's life forever and shock the entire city. Daniel Hayes never saw himself as a hero. He saw himself as a struggling mechanic, a single father, and a man just trying to survive one day at a time. Every morning at 5 a.m., he woke up before the sun just to make breakfast for his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. She was the only bright thing left in his life after destiny ripped his wife away in a car accident 3 years before. That morning started like any other. Toast. A missing shoe. Lily's laughter. And Daniel quietly praying the old pickup truck would start again. He had no idea that by evening, the sky above him would split open. Daniel worked at a small regional airfield, fixing planes no one remembered and patching up engines for pilots who struggled to pay him. He stayed late often, because overtime meant he could afford Lily's school books. The sun was sinking behind the hangars when the ground suddenly trembled. A roar louder than thunder, sharper than metal tearing, cracked the air. Daniel spun around just in time to see a private jet spiraling down, smoke billowing from its right engine, the tail burning. It was headed straight for the field. People ran. Screamed. Hid. Daniel ran toward it. He didn't think fathers like him didn't have the luxury of fear. He had seen too much loss already. He would not allow anyone else to die today. The jet slammed down hard, skidding across the asphalt, spinning sideways, sparks flying everywhere. Daniel ducked under the smoke, pressing his shirt to his mouth as the heat seared his skin. He shouted, "Anyone inside?" A voice, choking, answered, "Help." The cabin door was jammed. Daniel grabbed a metal rod, wedged it into the hinge, and with a scream of effort, pried the door open. Inside was a man in a torn suit, coughing, bleeding, but alive. Daniel dragged him out, stumbling footsteps, fire behind them growing higher. Just as they cleared the wing, the jet's fuel tank lit up in a thunderous blast that knocked Daniel off his feet. When he opened his eyes, paramedics were rushing in. The man he saved, pale, trembling, gripped Daniel's hand. You saved my life," he whispered. Daniel shrugged it off. "Anyone would've." "No," the man said, his voice full of awe, "not anyone." Before Daniel could respond, the medics pushed the man onto a stretcher. Daniel didn't even know his name. He walked home that night exhausted, smelling like smoke, his muscles shaking. He tucked Lily into bed with a kiss and whispered, "Daddy's okay. Daddy's right here." He fell asleep not knowing his life had already changed. And not knowing that the man he saved was Adrian Vance, the billionaire CEO of Vance Aerodynamics, a name that controlled half the aviation world. At 6 a.m., Daniel was woken by knocking, not gentle knocking, the kind that says, "Open up, your life is about to shift." He stepped outside with Lily still half asleep in his arms, then he froze. 3 black Cadillacs, brand new, polished, intimidating, were lined up on the street. Neighbors peeked through curtains, whispering, confused. No one like Daniel had ever seen something like this. The doors opened, first driver, second driver, and then from the middle car. Adrian Vance himself stepped out, wearing a cast on one arm and a bandage above his eye. Daniel's heart skipped. "What are you doing here? Are you okay?" Adrian smiled, that exhausted, humbled smile of someone who looked death in the eye hours before. "You saved my life," Adrian said. "So I'm here to save yours." Daniel blinked. "Sir, that's not necessary." Adrian raised a hand, "Let me finish." The entire neighborhood had gathered outside now. Even birds seemed to stop chirping. "You dragged me out of that jet when you could have died," Adrian continued. "And I found out everything about you, Daniel Hayes. You're a single father. You work 2 jobs. You fix planes better than half the engineers in my company. And you do it with no help, no support, no recognition." Daniel felt heat rise in his throat. It hurt to be seen so clearly. Adrian turned and nodded to one of his men, who opened a briefcase. Inside was a contract and keys. "I want you on my team," Adrian said. "As head of emergency technical operations. Full salary. Full benefits. House provided. And your daughter's education paid for all the way to college." Gasps rose around them. Daniel shook his head in disbelief. "You're offering this because I pulled you out of a jet?" "No," Adrian said softly. "Because you proved something money can't buy: courage. And my company needs a man like that more than any degree." Daniel swallowed hard, tears burning behind his eyes. "But I'm just a mechanic." Adrian placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're the reason I'm standing here. Don't ever say just again." Lily tugged her dad's sleeve. "Daddy, does this mean we won't be poor anymore?" Daniel lifted her up, voice breaking. "No, baby. No, we won't." Adrian smiled, stepping back toward the Cadillac. "One more thing," he said. "I don't make empty promises. So pack your things. A new life starts today." Daniel stood frozen as the Cadillacs pulled away, neighbors rushing in with cheers, hugs, and questions. He looked at Lily. He looked at the sunrise, and for the first time in years, he let himself believe that good things could happen again. This story teaches one powerful truth. Sometimes life breaks you to prepare you for the moment that lifts you higher than you ever dreamed. Courage has a price, and it's always rewarded in ways you least expect.